Hey everybody, welcome into Average Joe Sports Talk. This is our weekly high school review show. Hayden was going to make it tonight. He wasn't able to make it, but the show's got to roll on. I know it's unfortunate. We told Hayden was going to have him in, but we'll have Hayden on in the future coming up. Well, who we do have in, Mr. Adam Gilmer. Adam had a state title with Etowah in '99 with Cadillac Williams. He was the punter and starting tight end on that. And what did you play some on D too?
Yeah, I played some defensive end too.
I know Adam was a huge part of that team. You used to go by the name Gus. You don't do that no more, do you?
I do go by Gus. In Atala.
If you ain't from Atala, you wouldn't know nothing about that. All right, so we also have the legendary Kevin Moore sitting in with us. Had a lot of great reviews last time Kevin sat in with us. He nailed it on high school and college. As always, Reggie Davis, Josh Abercrombie. We're going to run down some games right here. This is going to be short and sweet because when you guys get these videos, we're actually going to do our preview show and go ahead and get it out because it's the playoffs. If anything was to change or anything on some of these games, we would come back in and film something else. But we got a lot of other stuff going on this week and with my other channel. And plus everybody wants this information out as soon as possible. So we're going to knock all of them out. But it's going to be a little bit more abbreviated version than we normally do.
Everything moves a little bit faster during the playoffs.
During the playoffs, yeah, everything does. From our end, players, everything gets a little bit tighter. So we're going to follow suit with that. We're going to lead off with Etowah. Something I noticed about Etowah, it's another dominant performance. Etowah played Guntersville. They won 33-0. The offense actually was clicking. They had 350 total yards. Trent Davis, another outstanding game, 150 yards on offense, 2 TDs. Troop was throwing the ball pretty well. Guntersville at one point in the game had negative 28 yards total on offense, and I think they ended up with only 10 total yards and never crossed the 50, from my understanding. DeRicky Wright, another savage night for him, as always. The Average Joe Sports Talk Defensive Player of the Year had 2 picks, and everything was clicking at the right time for Etowah. You went to the game. Tell us a little bit about what you seen.
Well, it was a cold, wet night, but that never slowed their defense down. And we was a little worried before the game on, of it being cold and everything and what we were going to do offensively. And like you said, the offense showed out kind of, it's kind of like they're starting to click. I mean, really starting to click with the defense. And if they can get both of them going together, it's going to be dangerous, guys. I'm telling you, because Trent Davis does some things.
Dude, for his size, I've never seen someone his size probably run as hard as he runs.
I mean, it blows my mind.
I can't believe it. And this is not a knock on him at all. It's actually a positive thing. We actually had the privilege of bringing him, and shout out to Trent Davis. He wanted to come meet Darian Meads. And when we announced, I told April and Tommy that we were going to give Darian the Player of the Year, and Trent wanted to come meet him, on his own free will. And when you see those two guys side by side, you'd think, these two guys both play varsity running back. But then when you see Trent Davis's highlight reel, which Josh, you were shocked by that.
Yeah, he does some amazing stuff.
His vision. Dude,
that's what's crazy.
He's seeing stuff happen before it happens,
and even for his size, he's breaking tackles like he should not be breaking.
He's like a magician out there.
Yeah,
really. I mean, if he puts some weight on guys, he's a Power 5 running back.
Oh, dude,
there's no doubt.
Yeah. And the good thing is he's a sophomore,
so
he's
got time to grow. Exactly, and he's a Power 5.
Not only does he have the physical attributes, he's got the mental attributes as well.
But he's not the only one Friday night. He carried the load. Yeah, he had the bucket of carries. But, Ollie Finch made some outstanding plays. He got an interception late in the game that was pretty big. And then Nana, he scored on a big run. Nana's another one, man. I mean,
he looks like a joystick controller.
He's like PlayStation. It's like PlayStation stuff out there. He does.
He's just like.
I mean, that touchdown run he had, he cuts it outside and gets about outside the hash. And they had a guy coming to him. And he had the angle on Nana. And he just stuck his foot in the ground and went back right. It was just amazing. It was crazy. I mean, they do. I mean, they do some crazy things, but Etowah's defense.
You've played with. Crazy. I didn't got to really say arguably. I mean, you played with the best running back in the state of Alabama ever, minus maybe Bo Jackson. I think everybody can kind of agree with that.
Just a maybe.
I mean, minus maybe Bo Jackson. Well, if you look at their stats, Cadillac has better high school stats. Yeah. Cadillac played some hellacious competition.
Yeah.
I'm talking about high school wise.
Yeah.
Now, college, you'd probably give Bo the edge. He won the Heisman, but Cadillac was splitting times with Ronnie too, though. So I mean that takes away from that. It didn't go both ways.
Yeah.
But for Gilmer to say that about a running back,
Yeah.
it means more than just one of us sitting in here saying, "Hey, man, Trent Davis is a good running back."
I mean, if he can put on some pounds, I mean, everybody in the country will be in the Alabama in 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. Well, his highlight video is on our Twitter page, so
Sick.
And if you hadn't checked it out, go check
it's
it out.
it's worth looking at. I shared it with a lot of colleges and recruiting services, so they've seen him.
And before we move on, shout out a little bit to Reggie, dude. Tell him about the story about Dindy.
Oh, Jacob.
The whole thing about Dindy.
Jacob Dindy, running back from Aberville, reached out to us, wanted some help with getting noticed by some colleges, and so I told him, I was like, dude, I've never done this before, but I'll give it a shot. And so I started sending his highlight videos to different colleges, recruiting services, is whatever I could find on Twitter, and noticed a prep school in Birmingham that just started this year. They actually won their conference championship over the weekend. Sent his video to the coach last week, and that same day, that coach contacted him and offered him a scholarship.
Wow.
that
This
not
is a
awesome?
prep school in Birmingham?
It's a prep school in Birmingham. It's called Birmingham It's two of them, I think. Birmingham Prep. And
Offered him scholarship.
and they actually won their conference championship over the weekend,
Nice.
so they're legit.
I knew they was the to start one up in Huntsville. Was kind of going to
The Tennessee Valley.
The thing about it is, I mean, these are a lot of good players that just some of them need help with their grades. But the problem,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about it is to reach out and get one in Dindy. And don't get me wrong, he's been on our radar.
Yeah.
It's just the weeks that we had somebody lined up. You know, he's killed. We've wanted him on, and we're going to have a whole Dindy segment
Yes.
here Wednesday night.
Dindy can play running back at any high school in the state of Alabama.
He's dangerous.
I mean, he's not. I
He's
mean,
dangerous.
he's good.
He's real good. He's coming on Wednesday.
Wednesday,
And,
yes.
and you know,
He may be a guy that'd be at the prep school for 2 years, and you may see him on
somewhere big.
CBS.
If I'm not mistaken, he actually told me he's going to visit at Arkansas State this weekend. So he's still taking his visits to some of the bigger schools. You know, working on his ACT score. You know, and so
And guys,
Good thing is
a
he's got
tough kid.
something in his pocket though, regardless.
yeah. So he's got a backup plan. So
Now, yeah, we can't wait to have him on both Wednesday. That's gonna be awesome.
That
We're
is
gonna do a whole
awesome.
segment. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna hit on a couple more games. Southside beat Brewer, which we knew that was gonna be a battle. Brewer hadn't been in the playoffs since '99, but this is a little bit different Brewer team than has been in recent years. Southside pulled out a win there. If my understanding, I don't know exactly what happened. Kevin, did you know? Like there at the end, there was some kind of chaos. Brewer was about to score. Did you hear about that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, Brewer was about to score. We got it on the radio on the way home, and something about the clock. They didn't stop the clock.
One of the players was
he faked an injury,
faked an
and
injury,
they wouldn't stop the clock.
and they didn't stop the clock, so he jumped up and ran off the field.
Yeah, and it cost them the game. I guess his coach had told him to fake an injury.
Well, they got the play off, but they just
yeah,
couldn't
they
complete it.
couldn't
But-
execute it.
Yeah, they
Wow.
were in a hurry.
They get you
They had no
sometimes.
time.
Game and
Yeah.
execute fate injury. Oh my god.
Yeah, somebody said
If
that
he did the old push and fall back.
right.
he looked up at the ref, and the ref was like, "Mm-mm,
No
let's
sir.
go."
Yeah.
So now let's move on down the line here. That was a huge win for Doherty and Southside,
Yeah.
man.
Good
They're one of
job,
the hotter
guys.
teams.
Yeah.
One of the hotter teams in the state right now.
Big matchup with Jasper this week.
Yes, dude. Okay, so now let's hit a little bit closer to home right here. Hoax Bluff 38, Rogers 14. Another dominant performance by Hoax Bluff. Rogers, you know, anytime Coach Rob, anytime you get Coach Rob gets up on somebody, he's not going to try to run it up. It's going to be just a solid victory. And another one. What we have here? Braden Hill. 4
Yeah.
passes for 92 yards.
Yeah.
Returned 3 punts, 26 yards. Had a pick 6.
Yep.
And Meads, another solid game, 167 yards on 21 carries and 2 touchdowns. I'm going to tell you this. If they get their passing game going and they can, take the top off that defense, they're going to be tough to beat. But we're going to find out real quick this week.
What's the status of Aaron Gullidge? Ashton, I'm sorry.
Darian told us that he's back almost completely healthy.
Okay.
But now, I don't know the kid's name. Number 10 has helped them find their other receiver that was really good has a broken hand.
That's 10's the Hill kid.
Yeah.
and,
Hill, yeah. That's right.
Who's the other one?
I'm
who's got a
assuming
broken
the
hand?
other one. I think I seen Eubanks, Carson Eubanks,
That's it.
Yeah.
on the TV the other night, and that looked like he had something on his hand.
He's got a broken hand.
Now, he's a weapon.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
In
That's
the
what I
return game,
Yeah.
you better be locking it down, son, because he can get it. He can absolutely fly.
And the beautiful part about that is if you start crowding the box, well, let's put it this way: whether teams won't admit it or not, they're going to get one-on-one matchups against any competition they play, because you literally would have to be, borderline locked in a straitjacket not to load the box.
You gotta have 8 guys in the box
Right.
at least.
That guarantees
And they gotta have. I mean, I'm like you, Bo. I don't see how you couldn't.
Yeah,
I mean, because if I was a defense coordinator, my object would be to stop me.
yeah.
Yep. But when you do that, you got another.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Hill's been out there for about 3 years at receivers, and he was a big weapon when they. I think when they played Madison Academy that year in the was it semifinals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a big weapon that year. For
He'll
me.
put
I mean,
you
he
in the
was
mind.
young.
It puts you in the mind frame like he's a long rangey receiver.
He
you know
is.
what I'm saying? And he can. I'm trying to think. It's kind of like Jordy Nelson with about another inch or two. I mean, that's kind of what he puts you in the
He's
mindset of.
the kid from West Virginia. He's a high school version of him.
Seals?
Seals.
Yeah.
He is long, lanky, and make the acrobatic catches if you throw it up there to him. But Eubanks, man, he can skin it back.
And the thing about it is, man, we're not getting into our preview yet, but we're going to find out Friday, man. Like, this is. I don't even want to dive
Yeah, I
into it
can't-
yet.
I've already looked at the
can't-
bracket that Ricky
can't
was
wait.
close in. 3 of the 4 teams made it for the first and second round.
That's a tough.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that. That's one of the edges, I think, that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. All right, so now let's flow on down the road right here. So we didn't talk about this. All right, so now Center Point beat Russellville, albeit Russellville's quarterback was out of the game. A lot of people consider that upset. I don't really consider that an upset when you look who Center Point's played this year. The one common opponent they've had with Etowah was Moody, and they beat them 44-0, and then Etowah only beat them 19-0.
19.
Now here's that's a positive for them. We're not doing the preview show here, but just to tell everybody how good Center Point is. All their losses was to powerhouse teams, and not too many points, except for the Mountain Brook beat them pretty bad on the Jamboree game. But you don't know who he's playing in that Jamboree game and what happened. But during the regular season, and here's the final point on that. To beat Russellville, even with a backup quarterback, handily 22-8, that says something about their football team. And it's not going to be a cakewalk for Etowah. We're not talking about the preview yet, but talk a little bit about what you know about Center Point.
Well, I mean they're athletic, and they're going to be able to match Etowah man to man athlete wise. They're big. They're pretty good size up front. Go back to that Moody game and you say, well, they beat Moody 44-0, and Etowah only beat Moody 19-0. But I believe when they played Moody was already into that stage of, we're not making the playoffs. Let's get ready for basketball. Let's finish this. Let's finish the rest of this year out and try not to get hurt. It was one of them things. Yeah. Because and then Etowah had played Moody early in the year, right after Gadsden City, and then we know all what the Gadsden City Etowah game was. It was a war. So I mean, what do you think there? As far as you can't. That's hard to compare them, but Center Point's going to be athletic, and you got to go to Center Point. So that throws the first thing up. Birmingham City School, and Etowah hasn't done real well with the Birmingham City schools, but this is a different Etowah
If I'm not
than
mistaken,
what you've seen in the past.
I've got some relatives in the Moody area, and seemed like, if I'm not mistaken, Etowah had like 4 or 5 turnovers in that game.
They did. I mean, it wasn't a clean game
yeah,
from Etowah,
yeah,
but again, like I said, they had just played Gadsden City on that Thursday, and it was a war when they played them, and then they
last year
played Moody.
They had a big win in the second game they lost to Madison County, and that was their only loss in the regular season, so that was a good thing they won.
And maybe just that second game of the year. This year
It's
they
kind of
got
like
it
with
done.
Alabama and LSU. Yeah.
After Alabama, LSU, both teams seems like they struggle.
Yeah.
But Center Point's just athletic, and they've got some good-looking kids. George Bates does a great job down there at Center Point.
Yeah.
And but like you say, their losses come to 6A and 7A schools, and we'll see Friday night.
And they do that to get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's good.
And it sounds like
And-
it's
And they were 6A last year.
Oh yeah, and they was 0-10 last year, but like you said, they're 6A, and the last game of the year, or I think it was their last game against Oak Mountain, they lost 41-8, but they were inside the 20, I think, and snapped 2 or 3 balls over the punter's head. So,
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a war.
yeah, but I'll share a little bit more when we get in.
Preview show.
Preview
All right,
show.
so we're gonna hit on a couple more games. So Hoax Bluff's competition is North Jackson. North Jackson's averaging 60 a game. They scored 47 last week. Beat Curry 47-6. There's no let up with them guys, man. That's gonna be a war. Again, we're not getting into a preview show right now. Just talking about how good North Jackson is.
I can't wait.
They are averaging 60.3 points a game. The problem is, you think teams like that would be like giving up bukus of points and a bunch of shootouts. No, they give up 10 points a game. Coach Rob this week said this is the best team he's seen on film since he's been at Hoax Bluff, since the Deschler teams back in the 90s.
That's saying a lot.
That's a lot.
They played
That's a
some,
lot.
Man, they played some good football teams.
He said on film, this is the best team we've seen since the Deschler team in the 90s. So, got our work cut out, but we're not diving into preview show yet.
Can't wait for that one.
All right, we're going to hit on a couple more games. We're going to shut this down. Hoover and Bob Jones. Hoover played a sloppy game, 190 yards and penalties last week. I don't care who you're playing. If you have 190 yards, that's almost 2 complete football fields worth of stupidity. Is what that is.
I would not want to be a Hoover player this week.
Oh, God.
Well,
And I'm gonna tell you something. I actually watched some of the highlights. McCammon's ankle still hurt.
he didn't have a lot of yards.
No, I watched him. He's still gimpy, man. And after that IMG
I
game,
think I would have. Well,
that's the And even when I let off when I interviewed Niblett, I let off with that. I was like, hey, you played defending 6A state champion first game of the year. Pinson Valley, who ended the year was 13th or 14th in the nation, ranked, way up there. All right, and then you played.
Who is now the #1 team in the country, right?
I'm talking about Pinson Valley with Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And then he played St. John's, who was number 4 at the time in the nation. And then he plays IMG to end the season. All right, now you play in the toughest, arguably the toughest region in all of America, 7A Region 3, as a regular season. So there is no let up, there is no break. No. So those kind of injuries are going to happen. I mean, it's it's going to happen. But I give them credit for playing those teams, but at the same time, you're seeing the back end of when you're, you can say Pickens all you want or Robbie Ashford or whoever you want to say. McCammon is what makes them click.
He's the man.
This is Hoover right here. This is what they die for. I mean, this is the playoffs. McCammon, somebody has to step up. That backup back behind him, man. In that IMG game I watched, that dude is. Now you don't talk about Carnell. That kid could be Carnell like one day.
And that sophomore already has offers from South Carolina and Tennessee.
Yes, he can look good too.
But yes, you're right. McCammon's right now is their go-to guy. They run to set
He
up
flips
pass.
the field just like that.
Yes, they try to get him the ball, whether it's returns, I said the IMG game they were kicking straight to Pickens to stay away from McCammons.
They had he had 99 yards and 4 touches.
Yeah,
and I told that FSU recruiter Reggie Herman Kellum, I said he asked me because I told him I went to cover the Modern Day IMG game, and I said I watched the St. John's game in Hoover. And the guy asked me point blank, he said, who's the diamond in the rough here? And you can ask Reggie, I said, number 3 for Hoover, Larry McCammon, is the most underrated running back I've seen in high school football in probably 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, to me, I think he's the best back in the state of Alabama.
I think he's probably, because he's gained some size. He's gained some.
He's a 3-star, but
he plays like a 4 or 5-star. He's a home run hitter, bro.
Yeah.
And in that IMG game, he really did go off.
99 yards on 4 touches against.
I'm not saying
without question.
I'm not saying they would have
The
won the
best
game,
athletic defense in the nation.
but I guarantee you it'd been more competitive than what it was.
I like McCammon. I like him.
All right, so now Thompson beat Florence 45-14. Thompson seems to be clicking at the right time, man.
Yep.
I mean, and they're fixing to play Hewitt, and we're not diving into that right now because we're going to get into it in just a minute. We're about to shut this one down. We were at the Coosa and Donahoe game, and shout out to Coach Woods and Coosa on an outstanding season. We featured those 2 players as Player of the Week. with Lipscomb and Britton, two outstanding kids who's had a great year. And it just wasn't their night the other night.
No.
You know, when they would get a break, they'd have some sort of penalty, or they would get to moving the ball and then somehow they'd turn it over.
Yeah.
And it was just a cold, muddy, murky game down there.
That field wasn't in the best shape
It
either.
was
It's like
horrible.
Coosa couldn't find their footing, and I think on a dry field, you would have saw that Coosa offense click.
Because you could see, even when he would come out of their breaks and Lipscomb, it was always like a little too high.
Yeah,
But now, shout out to Coach Woods, though, man, because he coached, the whole staff, they coached their tails off
They did.
to the very end. I give him props.
Yeah, he gave a speech that had all of us.
Oh, we heard his speech. The man didn't, you know, and the thing about it is, you don't have to cuss to be a great coach. You don't have to cuss to make your point across. Not one cuss word was said, but he had everybody within 30 yards
fired up.
ready to run through the tunnel.
I mean, the fans behind me, they were pumped up. I was ready to put some pads on and go out there and make a play.
He
Yeah,
was
but
talking
see-
to his players, but the whole stadium, the whole sideline heard it.
So that's why I want to know. I mean, was he giving this speech outside? This wasn't in the locker room or something?
No,
Yeah,
this is
everybody
during
fired
the
up.
time. This is during the time.
He had seen his players were getting chippy after the plays, and they were getting frustrated. And
There were some questionable calls.
There was some, and hey, and I love Mark Sanders. We love Mark Sanders. He's a friend of ours and coaches at Dono. They were getting some calls. I mean, they were. And Coosa's players at one point was like, hey, you know, like they just kept griping about it.
They were
griping
coming
about
to the sidelines complaining
and complained
about
about the refs. So, timeout. Bro, Woods comes over there and he basically says, "Hey, who wants to take it? One of y'all do it better justice than me."
I can't tell you the way he said it, but he basically said, "You're fighting more after the play
Yeah.
than during the play. If I can get y'all to fight like that during the play, we'll do some things."
And he's basically with some emphasis. He's like, "I'm tired of seeing you fight after the play." He said, "You want to talk about refs and fight?" He said, "Fight during the play."
Yeah, and
I'm sick of hearing it.
I was ready to go.
Chill
I was
on that.
I was ready to go. I was like, wow. And then they went out there and they stopped them.
They
kept
did on that
scoring.
series. They shut them
They
down.
shut them down. They
right
did
after
not
that
get in the
speech.
end zone. And I was like, there you go.
Dude, he had us fired up, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Hey.
very close to. I don't want them to gain another yard.
Yeah.
It
It was close.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was right on that borderline of that cusp of that, man. I mean, he had us.
they
And they shut him
Remember
down
when
after
you
that.
played the Conquerors?
Hey, Coosa, hey, as long as he's there, they got a bright future, man.
They did.
And yes, shout out to Coach Sanders at Donahoe.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And
They were-
nonchalantly, just, you know.
They're going to be a tough out.
Good, yeah,
Yeah, they are. They're very
I,
tough.
if I was a 1A team, I wouldn't want to play them. I tell you this right now, I sure as heck wouldn't want to play them in the conditions they played in.
No.
Because they are built, what do you want to call it, for tough,
Yeah.
for a field like they played on the other night.
When he
Yeah.
took over, they were like 1-9, 2-8, and they
Yeah.
just flipped.
They are
Hey,
the high
buddy.
school version of the Wisconsin Badgers.
They are.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
are.
and he likes that. He loves that.
Oh, dude.
Mark, I know you love that.
Oh,
Down
he
in the
loves it.
trenches, boy. Wouldn't you like to go watch a practice of him when he's
Oh,
coaching them
gosh.
offensive linemen?
Oh, dude. That'd be good stuff.
Yeah.
I bet you.
Because
it
when
is.
we seen Donahoe come out, we were, golly, these guys are big.
Yeah, they're way more size than Coosa. But I
Yeah.
still say if Coosa played them on if Coosa played them on a dry Gadsden City field with that turf, it would
Oh
be
yeah, it
totally
would have been different
Yeah.
because it seems like Britton every time he tried to,
Oh, man.
you think he's about to break one, he slipped.
He slipped. His feet were going up.
Yeah, and I'm just like, God,
that speed they had couldn't kill.
so
them.
many times.
But we're going to shut this one down. If we missed a few games, it don't matter because we're fixing to dive right back into our preview show. Guys, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the bell for the notifications. This is Average Joe Sports Talk High School Review. We're out.